Hey guys, how you going? Campbell here from Autodidactic. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And Petra has flooded. Petra in Jordan. We all know about Petra with these amazing buildings they say are carved into the mountains here, but I think there may be something different going on, maybe a bit of meltage. But Jordan is in the Middle East, right? It's in the middle of a desert. It doesn't get a lot of rainfall and it's had flash flooding. Heavy rain struck Jordan on Sunday, triggering flash floods that poured into Petra's narrow rock-carved passageways. They halted ticket sales and evacuated 1,800 visitors, but they say that just one day after the flash floods swept through, they opened the park back up again. So Jordan's average yearly rainfall, a high of around 400 mils, 40 centimeters, to a low of 10 centimeters. So not a lot of rain, and they are now having flash flooding. And of course, flooding has been going on all across the realm. We've had it where I live here in Queensland, in Australia, a lot of floods. It's happened just recently in Auckland, in New Zealand. And of course, we've all heard about what's gone on in America. They've had flooding everywhere. All these hurricanes and weather systems that are coming in. And again, we know that this is not a natural phenomenon, shall I say. This is all orchestrated. And the question, I guess, with the water is why? We know that they are manipulating the weather. But why? Why are they bringing all this rain in? Is it just to cause destruction? Is it just to devalue land so they can get their 15-minute cities built? Or is there something else going on? Or is it multiple things, right? Because what I've been thinking ever since I saw the floods in Chicago, where a lot of Chicago flooded to like a meter or more deep. That's what, 3 or 4 feet in US language. And then it turned to ice, and that was weird, right? There were literally cars frozen in a couple of feet of ice. But where did all this water come from? They say it was a burst water main. But there's video coming out and has come out in the past months showing water just coming out of the ground, like geysers, and this has even happened in the Sahara Desert. So, what's really going on here? Because we all know about the story of the Great Flood, and what they say, if you read the story of the Great Flood, they like to push the story of it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. But if you read the story in the Bible, it says that the water came up from below as well. And they actually show this in the movie Noah. The waters came up from below. So is that what's going on here? Are we having the waters rising from the ground? Is all the weather manipulation and the storms and the rain that we're seeing, is that all to hide the fact that the water is actually coming up from below? What do you think? Let me know. Leave me a comment. And I also just want to touch on some footage I've come across recently of a dig in Mexico, in Tula. And I've had a bit of a look into it. Now, this site was discovered 2 or 3 years ago. And it's very interesting because they're pulling out all these artifacts that look very Egyptian. And of course, this is in Central America, right? Mexico. And we're told in his story that there's not supposed to be any connection between Egypt, ancient Egypt, and ancient Mesoamerica, right? So why do they have the same artifacts, the same symbols, the same god statues? Everything is very similar, the same, themes and motifs through what they're bringing up. So what's going on here? We've all seen this kind of stuff before, of course, but it's just more proof, isn't it, that the world has always been connected. This story that we were all separated and over millions of years we evolved and suddenly we've only connected up in the last, 500 years or so. is false, right? Because we've got evidence everywhere. And here is some more. So let's check out some of these videos. Okay, so here's a bit more footage of them actually digging it out. And as far as I can tell, this footage is from this year. Like I said, the site was discovered about 2022, I believe, and they're still digging it out, but they've come across some new things, right? A new dig site, including this pyramid, all right, in Mexico, Central America. They're uncovering a pyramid. And as you can see, the iconography on it, it's all very Egyptian. You know, what we're taught is Egyptian, but I think we're starting to understand that there is no Egyptian, there is no Sumerian, there is no, Aztec and Toltec. It's all people with the same information doing the same thing. And look at this. Okay, so here we have a pyramid and what looks to be a sarcophagus. And next to that, we have one of these bags, these stone bags, right, that we see in the Mesopotamian statues and glyphs that the Anunnaki hold. And you can see here, it zooms in on this, but he's holding his crook and flail. And this is the coffin opened or the sarcophagus. And we have this weird creature in here with this big elongated head, long skinny neck. Okay, so what is that? It doesn't look like a mummy. It looks like some kind of carving, but there's the face. Okay, definitely not human. Okay, and we've seen this kind of thing a lot, right? The cone heads, we have the cone heads. Obviously, the greys are depicted with long heads, big heads, big eyes, all this kind of stuff. And here we find it under the ground in the Americas. And there you can just see the crossed arms, very Egyptian from when they bury their kings, etc. And also the skirt he's wearing, very Egyptian looking. So this is showing us that there was a worldwide civilization. I think, the whole time the world's been in touch and had access to the same information, apart at least from the last 200 years, right? We don't have access anymore, but we're rediscovering it. All this is coming out at the moment. And here we have the pyramid. I'll just go back here. You can see down here, this is Anubis. That's an Egyptian god. Well, again, we're told it's an Egyptian god, Anubis. What do these gods in inverted brackets, what do they really represent? Because we're just told a story. And then up here, it looks like we've got creatures, I don't know, playing some kind of instruments. All these frequencies going around. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but definitely Egyptian looking. All right, so this is what they are digging up currently in Tula in Mexico. And they are saying that this is from the Toltec civilization. Did you see that one? So this whole thing covered in iconography. This one is pretty interesting. Like it's a elongated head fairy or something. But back here, again, look at this. Very, very sun worship, like, right? Very Ra, elongated head. And look at this. Look at this symbol that he's making with his hands. Does that remind you of anyone or of any symbol that you may have seen recently? And here's some more footage of what they have dug up from this excavation. And as you can see, this looks a bit more techy. This looks, I mean, it looks like some kind of telescope or something. I'm not sure what it is, but clearly this is something that's been made, right? It's not just carved, a picture carved out of stone. So very interesting. And this, looks like it's definitely metal, right? Copper probably. And it also down here has it looks like the scarab, right, with the wings, but basically the sun god, the Ra from ancient Egypt. Now this, I'm not sure what this symbol is, so let me know if you got any ideas, but clearly it's representing something, and we've got all these notches on the outside. It looks like something to do with stars to me, star constellations and degrees and readings and things around the outside. And this thing actually does look like it's some kind of viewing device, right? Some kind of telescope. And again, made from metal. Okay, they say that this civilization that they're digging up is 600 to 1,000 years old, around about, uh, in the Americas, right? So again, the narrative, his story tells us this shouldn't have been possible. They shouldn't have been able to make this stuff. And even the carvings, lots of wings, still got that Egyptian feel to it. Another ankh down there. So what is that? It looks like some kind of, telescopy thing, doesn't it? Let me know if you've got any ideas of what this stuff is. I think it's to do with the sky, and even if there's no glass or telescope left in it, there may have been to begin with, but could just be, a viewing stick to pinpoint different astronomical things in the sky. Pretty interesting, hey? So what is all this? What does all this mean, these symbols? Because clearly those who have been in control, they're losing power now, but they've been ruling for a few hundred years. They understand all these symbols and they're using them, for negative, nefarious reasons. But I would say it's just all to do with energy and frequency and intention and stuff. And you can get different outcomes depending on the intention that you put into it. So this I found on aliencarvings.com. It's also a TikTok channel. There might be other videos on YouTube, I'm not sure. But here we have it, the pyramid, the sarcophagus, and here you go, the crook and flail, and held by an alien. But you can also see this headdress here, very much like Tutankhamun, like we say, and all the pharaohs, right, with their big headdresses. So let me know what you think, guys. What's going on here? We seem to have found ancient Egypt in Mexico. Please leave me your comments and thanks for spending some time with me. And I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.
Remember, in the end, nobody wins unless everybody wins. Come on!